Ponder this. You're out in the Mojave, in a very remote location. You're doing something you shouldn't be, and you get caught. But not by somebody, by something. How many times have we heard a bad joke that starts, "A man walks into a bar"? Well, today's story starts the same way, except to the man involved, it was anything but a joke. In February of 2011, a man walked into a small bar in Las Vegas with an incredible and terrifying story. Not giving his name for reasons which will become readily apparent, he said he had been prospecting for gold in the rugged and remote mountains just to the northwest of Searchlight, a small Mojave Desert town in the southern edge of Nevada. He had also been claim jumping, in the parlance of the industry, on another man's property while the legal owner was in the hospital with an illness. Keeping a cold camp, meaning no fire or lights at night, he had been living out of a tent while combing the surrounding hills in the daytime for a small ledge he had heard contained a good streak of visible surface gold. Having been there for only 2 days, he had not found anything yet, when one night, while sleeping in his tent, he heard what sounded like the noise of rushing water, a strange whooshing sound combined with an electronic hum. Suddenly, he was bathed in brilliant white light that lit up his entire tent, and at the moment, thought he had been discovered by the owner and was about to be arrested, or worse. Calling out that he was unarmed and pretending to be lost, he was surprised when there was no answer. So working up the nerve to unzip the tent and look out, he was astounded to see his entire camp lit up, but nothing around him. Until he looked up, and there saw 3 large white balls of light hovering in the air about 100 feet above his camp. They were about the size of a large car or truck and slowly rotating in a small circle, he later said. Getting out of the tent and on his feet, the man watched in wonder as the glow from them seemed to grow and ebb in a sequence, first getting incredibly bright before dimming to a much lower intensity. Not quite sure what he was seeing, the man claimed he was just about to say the word UFO to himself when suddenly he became aware of a presence behind him. Whipping around, he was shocked to see a tall entity standing directly behind him about 15 feet away. Describing the luminescent figure as being at least 7 feet tall and seemingly made almost entirely of white light or energy, with large dark eyes. Eyes that were fixed directly on him. The man said he was more than terrified and could only watch in open-mouthed amazement as the creature seemed to look him up and down, studying his body from bare feet to the top of his head. It made no noise nor made any gestures, the only sound heard being the electronic noise coming from the glowing orbs of light that continued to circle overhead. Finally, after what seemed a few minutes, the strange creature, in the man's own words, gave me a look of almost disgust and suddenly vanished, along with the glowing lights overhead. Just winked out, like someone just hit the light switch, the man said, leaving me standing under a clear, starry sky. I looked around but couldn't see nothing but the lights of ordinary planes heading over to Vegas. Deciding he was also better off heading into town, the man wasted no time in breaking camp, running down to where he had stashed his truck in an isolated canyon and heading off into the desert toward the highway. Gold or not, he was done with claim jumping. When I talked to the man, he made 3 points I thought were most interesting. 1, he never had a sense of missing time, in that it didn't seem like your classic abduction scenario. 2, he never saw a craft. He only saw lights, glowing lights, pulsating lights, moving lights, and of course the strange entity. And 3, He said that afterwards, he had a strange ringing in his ears and a weird metallic taste in his mouth. Now that's interesting. Now, I wondered, is there a phenomenon that's been reported in the Mojave that is current or reported in the past that might tie into this? And I think there is. See what you think. Early miners used to talk about what they termed ghost or spook lights, often seen at night in the remote desert. Some thought them to be spiritual or supernatural in origin. The ghosts or spirits of murder victims, or even dead Native American shaman. Others claimed they are most often seen above naturally occurring deposits of uranium or radioactive sediment, and it was said a good prospector could spot them on a clear desert night as a way to find what they termed hot minerals. There is also another phenomenon called earthquake lights, often described as bright flashes or glowing clouds in the sky prior to or during seismic activity, although the science on what causes them is still not completely settled. But regions of the Mojave Desert are known to contain areas of constant seismic activity. Could a burst of voltage from the movement of the tectonic plates underground or the discharge of radiation from buried uranium deposits have affected our claim-jumping prospector? The ringing in the man's ears and weird metallic taste in his mouth might just be a clue. People who have received strong electrical shocks have reported just such sensations. Or did he have an encounter with something from another world? Or dimension? Or from the recesses of his own mind caused by a piezoelectric discharge? I guess we'll never know. And we'll have to leave it as just another mystery from the Great Mojave. I'm M.L.Behrman, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, M.L.Behrman here. I'd like to personally invite you to join the channel by subscribing. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help.